Let's in smart regime. So today we discuss a lab project. So the projects we choose is a Power BI inflation analysis. So we cover all the things basic to advanced. How do we convert a messy data into a interactive dashboard? For this project, we use a Power BI tool, Power Business Intelligence tool. Using this tool, we load the data in a Power BI tool. Then we convert the messy data into an interactive dashboard, like do data cleaning, making a dashboard, report, documentation, everything. So first of all, for this project, we discuss what is the objective. So first of all, the objective is to collect and integrate global inflation data. We collect in different sources the global inflation data. We identify the visualization regional inflation trend. We also analyze a historical pattern for strategic insights, and then we provide action enabled recommendation. So let's discuss what is the business statement. So, in a global economy, multinational corporations face significant challenges in understanding and responding to inflation trends across different countries. The absence of standardized reporting formats, inconsistent data availability, and lack of historical records make it difficult to build a unified view of global inflation. Furthermore, the intricate interdependencies among economies complicate the analysis of inflation drivers and their impact on business operation. Without a centralized analysis system, companies struggle to draw a meaningful data-driven insights to guide pricing, investment, and expansion strategies. So for this, what the planning we do for whole project. First of all, we do the data collection. After that, we prepare data. After that, we make a interactive visualization. After that, we make a interactive dashboard. After that, we make also a report for whole data. After that, we testing some amount of data refunding to database, utilization of data filters, number of calculation field, number of visualization graph. All right. So first of all, I will show you how the data set look like. So this is a all over messy data look like, and we convert this messy data into this Power BI interactive dashboard. Whole analysis we will do in this Power BI. See, this is a dashboard, and now this is a report for whole analysis. Looking some interactive, we clearly find insight from this report and from this dashboard. So I will explain the first process. How do I do the data cleaning? So I will upload the data, global inflation data into Power BI. Some of the columns which are not necessary for our analysis, we remove them. We use unpivot function to convert all these columns into a rows. I will show you how I do it. I have a table view. When I use unpivot column, it transforms into two columns, years and their inflation rate. I will rename for those two columns, years and inflation rate. Next, what I do, I make a new column using our DAX query. The column name is adjusted inflation rate. So how I create this column? So what I have do, I choose our dataset name. After that, we give the column name, and then we multiply by 0.01 for getting the inflation rate. Now next, how do I create an inflation rate category? Let's understand how do I create this category. So for this, I use a case statement. I hope you ever seen in Python in SQL case statement. Similarly, concept is used for this. For the in the Power BI, the function name is switch. The switch will true if we give some condition. What I give to condition? If the inflation rate is less than 2, then it considers as a low inflation. Again, I do some more condition. What I do? If inflation rate is greater than 2 and inflation rate is less than 5, we consider as a moderate inflation. The whole sentence or statement will work when the both conditions are true. Why? Because we give a AND statement. Next condition I give, if inflation rate is less than 5 and inflation rate is less than 10, then it's considered as a high inflation. And if the inflation rate is greater than 10, means this considered as a hyperinflation. Or others, for others we give as unknown, and we close the bracket. And then we click on this to get inflation rate category. Now for this we again use a DAX query to create a new column. The column name is inflation rate change. So I make this column. For this is whole the DAX query. For this I make a column. Alright. So this is the whole part for the data cleaning. And one more thing, I will work for two sheets. First is a global inflation, but I didn't have a region. For that, I use another sheet that is named a all, which have a regions, countries, and other things. I remove unrelevant data from this sheet and only consider the country name and region. And I use append merge queries function to merge this column using some common column like country name. I will choose for that all have a country name and global inflation data hosts a country name. For that I combine both sheets to use a append merge queries. So this is the whole thing which I use in the data cleaning process. Now let's discuss go with our documentation. Whatever I explain you, this is the whole about the data cleaning, data transformation, data type conversion. See, in the year, it's considered as a text. For that, we convert into the whole. For that I use data type conversion. We use a merging, and for a relationship, we use data modeling. Now, this is a very basic questions which I use to form our Power dashboard. I will explain you how the dashboard tells, means what the patterns is we find from this dashboard. So let's go with our dashboard to explain each one thing. So we give a title, inflation focus, Power BI strategy dashboard for global decision making. So first we make three KPIs. The KPIs, the first of all is the average inflation rate. We use a card for this make a KPI. So the average inflation rate comes out 42.7. Then again we use a card for finding the maximum inflation rate, which comes out 65,000. And the regions count is a 6. And the sum of inflation rate means how the inflation change. The total sum in then comes negative, that is minus 3000. Now the next chart we're talking about the line chart. For the line chart, what I have to do, I give a y-axis a inflation rate which considered as a sum, and x-axis give a years. So for this, what inside we find that the big spikes in 990 and 2020 suggest economic crisis happened around those years. Lower values in other years show more stable inflation. As you see in 2020, the spikes comes more and others have a low spikes, means the condition will be stable. Next is a pie chart which talking about the inflation rate according to the category. So the blue chart is a hyperinflation which comes out 93%. Then high inflation which comes out 3%, then have a moderate inflation which comes out 2%. So this is a pie chart according to inflation rate category which I make using a DAX query which I explained above. So the next is a adjusted versus a actual inflation. So this is a inflation rate according to year. So you particularly see the in 2020 have a maximum inflation that is 66,000. So the next is sum of inflation rate and sum of adjusted inflation rate according to years. So this helps show what inflation would look like if we adjust for factors like currency value or global average. the value grow together, show a strong link between a actual and adjusted rate. Now, so this is a whole a discussion about the insights of a dashboard. Now, second thing what I use in this dashboard, I use a filters. Suppose if I want to only analyze a Benin country, then I choose filter Benin and the whole dashboard will change according to Benin. The average inflation rate according to Benin country, maximum inflation according to Benin country. So this is a concept about the slices use. Now, let's discuss about our report. So I use a geolocation graph for the analysis of different country inflation. So here is America. You could particularly see have a 3.5 inflation rate. Now suppose if I move cursor and talking about Africa, it also have an inflation rate 3.5. Let's go with Australia. So it also comes out the inflation rate 3.5. Alright, now for moving ahead, we first of all clear our filter. Now it's looking good. Now, the next thing what I have to do, I choose top 3 countries which have a maximum inflation rate. I found 3 maximum countries. Here is a Venezuela which have a 58% inflation rate, and Nicaragua, which have 19% inflation rate, and have a Congo Dam Repo, which have a 22% inflation rate. So next is making a table which have a country name, ES, have a inflation rate, and what the inflation rate change. See, in the Tonga, the inflation rate is 7.30, but after some time, it's gain more, it's 0.38 for all countries. I have to mention for this. Next is the sum of inflation rate according to sum of inflation category. So if you see category inflation is a hyperinflation, it's go 0.3 millions. High inflation rate is something go 12,89,992. Similarly, modern inflation I've made and a low is have a very low inflation. So next is a report talking about the sum of inflation rate according to country. So Venezuela have a 92,000 inflation rate. Next is a Congo demo repo which have a second highest inflation rate. Nicaragua have a third inflation rate which goes at 30,420, and for others country so on. So for that I choose top 10 countries have a inflation rate. So this is a whole discuss about the report and the dashboard insights which I make. Now how do I make? I explain each and everything. Now let's go with our documentation for discuss more. So I will explain everything. What number of calculation fields. So I use inflation category, DAX query, and inflation rate change. So if someone be asked how number of visualization you make, so I give the answer. I use 11 types of visualization. So the conclusions comes out the data revealed that inflation rate vary widely by region and country, with Venezuela experiencing extremely level of inflation. Hyperinflation contribute the most to the global inflation sum, indicating that the economic stability in a few countries has a significant low global impact. Regions like Africa, South Africa show consistently higher average inflation rate compared to other part of the world. So what is the future scope for this analysis? We go with the time series analysis, country-wise deep dive analysis, and we also use economist impact study. So this is the overall discussion for this inflation data project.